All right, guys, today we're going to take a look at Cinevate's latest Duzi version 4 video slider. Now, this is the 4th generation of the Duzi, so some of you guys may have already been familiar with some of the previous versions. It's almost similar. It kind of has the same design as far as like the adjustable feet that are on the slider, the carbon rods here, obviously the rollers and the way the car looks, but version 4, they've implemented something that has never been done before. They've added an onboard flywheel. So there are no cog belts or anything like that. It's designed to be underneath the car here, so it works incredibly well. Now, as far as flywheels and counterweight systems go, other sliders have done this before. So Cinevate is not the first. It works so well, as a matter of fact, that almost every company that makes video sliders makes some type of version with a counterweight flywheel system. So you've got like Canova, you've got Veravon, you've got iFootage. Cinevate makes a couple of them, like the Hedron and the Duzi here now. So there are quite a bit of video sliders out there that use counterweight flywheel systems because it just works so well. The difference though is that they built it on board now, so you don't have to carry a separate weight. It's not this weird balancing issue. You don't have these belts that need to be tightened up, and there's no memory in the belts, and so the slide is smooth every single time. To take a look at that, there's a brake on the car here, so if you want to lock this anywhere along the slider, you just lock this lever over here. But you could see the counterweight underneath, and you'll notice that as I tilt this, the flywheel will start to spin. And that's what gives it that very smooth, consistent movement, regardless if you have shaky hands or you just don't slide very well, or you're using a very light camera that doesn't have enough mass. As you begin to move the car over, the flywheel starts to spin. It generates rotational energy, and then that energy has to stop. So it's going to continue spinning until it slows down at the end. So your movement ramping up and even when you let go and it has to slow down is going to be smooth. Now, the more mass you put on here, it works even better. So I put my Ursa Mini on here, big camera setup, big head, and it still tracks smoothly. Now, there's a limit to how fast you can slide, and they actually have that in the instruction manual. If you try to go too quickly, the flywheel is not going to build up that momentum. So there's kind of a set speed. You can feel it as you move. You know that you can't push it any faster, but you could certainly push it slower if you wanted to. And again, if you have shaky hands, because that flywheel is continuing to move, it's going to keep that movement consistent. But taking a look at the slider here, let's lock this down. So again, your brake is right up here. You got a 3/8 mount here, so you can mount any standard flat base fluid head. There's a couple of mounting points up here as well. I guess you can mount some other accessories if you really wanted to. You've got a light stand adapter on each side here, so you could put 2 stands if you want to use 2 stands. Otherwise, you could put one tripod mount right in the middle here, so you could put your QR plate and mount it right to a tripod. I use a bowl mount tripod so I could level it very quickly. There are these little feet here at the end, and as you can see, one of them is loose because I've been adjusting them on uneven ground. There's some in the middle here. Now, these will allow you to set it down on any table, flat surface, and you'll be able to track. You'll be able to use the slider right away. So all of this stuff will work with just these feet here. And if you have slightly imperfect leveling, you can just turn these feet and you can level it out. Now, if you're on like taller grass or weird rocky terrain, they do have the all-terrain legs here. Now, this is the design allows you to put the legs, they fold with the slider, so they're nice and neat. They don't have to be taken off. I believe this is an optional piece here. So once you put this on, you'll get more stability, more width on your slider, more adjustments on uneven ground, and again, you can fold it up if you want to pack your slider away. So we're going to set this up right now. All right, basically you're going to add 2 of these hex screws at the top, and it's really there just kind of as a pivot point. So you'll install the legs at one of the kips here, and then you'll be able to tighten this down and adjust the legs at any angle you want. So you can lift it up or you can make it lower. And then if you want to fold the leg, what you're going to do is you're going to pull this out just far enough where it can come off of this back screw, and then you can fold it down. And then you would lock this to keep it in place. And we'll do the other leg the same way. So now that we have the all-terrain legs attached to the Duzi slider, we can bring this slider up and down just by making adjustments here at the legs. Now you can see how wide the stance is, so you're going to get more stability because it's wider. If you have like a longer camera, it won't kind of tip forward or backwards. Also, you have the little feet here at the end of the legs, so if you want to make some finer adjustments, you could do it right there as well. Now that we have the legs on here, we actually don't need these little feet at the bottom. There's no harm in keeping it there, I guess, but you don't really need them once you have these legs. So for instance, if we want to bring the slider higher, we're just going to loosen these two tips here at the end. We'll just bring this up. We'll do the other one on this side. There you go. Now we could level this out a little better just playing with the legs. The Cinevate Duzi does have a bubble level here on the car, so you'll be able to get that perfectly horizontal, but you could see how we can get the slider up higher, or if we were working in weird terrain, we can level it out very nicely with these all-terrain legs. Now to fold up the legs, we would just loosen this up. Now what you want to do is you want to loosen it up just far enough so it comes off of this other bolt over here. And once it comes off of that other bolt, we can bring one over the top and the other one underneath, and then we just lock it down. And that's how it would fold up. So we threw on our Liebeck THX video fluid head on here and a GH4. We're going to go out and do some slides. Now there's already a lot of footage out there, people using the version 4 Duzi slider with the counterweight system or flywheel, and some really great examples. I can confirm to all of what they say. This is probably the best video slider out there, manual video slider out there that you can get. And not just the onboard flywheel system, but just the overall design. They're using carbon rails, so it's really lightweight, super quiet. The rollers that they put on here, just the design with the all-terrain legs. 24 inches is really great. You can get a lot of movement out of it as long as you know how to set up the scene, use some foreground, use the right lenses so it exaggerates the movement. And this will let you do that. This will let you use longer focal lengths, even macro shots. It will smooth everything out. Once you use a video slider with a flywheel system, it's really hard to go back to anything else. And what Cinevate has done again is they've removed all of the other components that the other sliders have. So you're not relying on belts and gears and an external counterweight, a bulky counterweight. Those belts can sometimes get some slack, so it'll skip along the track, or they have memory. If that belt's folded too long, once it reaches that fold point, it kind of skips. So they've kind of eliminated all of that. It's just very clean and you don't have to worry, and it works really well. So anyways, we're going to go out and get some slides, and then we'll come back and wrap up. Duzi slider is so smooth, I can do it while I'm recording with my iPhone. Alright, so that's a look at Cinevate's Duzi version 4 video slider with the onboard counterweight flywheel system hands down one of the best video sliders you can get out there. It's just a very clean and simple design, and they got rid of all of the unnecessary bulk. Again, lightweight carbon rails. The 24-inch is great. You don't need a lot of movement. But if you haven't used a slider with a counterweight system, I suggest you go out and try it, because you probably will never want to go back without one. And what Cinevate has done was made this onboard flywheel just a lot cleaner and simpler to use. And I highly suggest you guys try this one. You guys will be sold. Anyways, if you guys are interested in more information about this, I'm going to have a link below this video or on the blog at cheesycam.com, or leave some comments below.